are the chords, Nikki?
We're two young girls with much to talk about. Welcome to Couch to Couch. Yeah.
I met Kenzie, I think we really connected during The Bachelor, which we have a wonderful behind the scenes video of that whoever wants to watch can go watch.
So through probably Statfest, we threw a music festival through Movers, which is my brother's entity, and then Nikki's band, The Big Happy, was one of our local stage bands, and they did so much for us that day, and we just continued to collaborate with them afterwards. I wear many hats, as most people would say. I don't have any hats near me, but I would put 10 on my head right now to show you. I guess I'll just start from the beginning. Before Movers, I was in my 9-to-5 boring job, hating everything, working full-time, going to school full-time, never listening to my body or what I should have been doing for myself. And they really helped me find what I was passionate about and go after what I wanted to do. So I started my cookie company because they gave me all the support that I needed to do that. And me and my mom do that together. So that's DK Desserts. It's one of the things that I do now. That's been going for about 2 years, an online bake shop. We sell thumbprint cookies. And there's all different varieties and vegan flavors as well. I decided to start a blog, I guess you can call it. It's called Kenzie Mendz, insinuating that I'm mending my past wounds and traumas. So that was really for me. I don't really care how many followers you get or who reads it, but I just put it out really for myself to get my thoughts out, and it seems to be helping other people too. So that's just an added bonus, but that's not why I started it. And that's really been my journey of learning how to love myself and how to get out of a negative mindset and surround myself with more positive influences and passionate people. So that was the birth of Kenzie Mendz. And my last hat for now is our video series that I started. My friend Becky, that I met through our love of teas and essential oils and green juice. We started a video series called Party with Becky and Kenzie, and that's also all about self-love and spirituality and just talking about the hard stuff that nobody wants to talk about.
We found a lot of those similar connections within our conversations, just about you said you had mentioned listening to your body, unlearning all of these negative self habits and things that are literally just straight up self-sabotage without even realizing that they are, about setting boundaries and just all these, like you said, conversations that need to be had because it's things that are just not expressed enough. And I think that where we meet with Couch to Couch is just that idea of chasing that dream and listening to your body and listening to your purpose and really figuring out how to be aligned with everything.
That's one thing that I hate when people say a work-life balance. You have one life.
You always hear you got to keep your work life and your personal life separate. Or but it's what is that? So you have
you shouldn't have this work life and this personal life. You have one life and you have to be completely aligned in everything that you do.
And you are with your purpose, the more people start to fall out of your life. I noticed this year, I think for everyone has just been it's almost like a slingshot. The whole world slowed down and you were finally given that time to, oh my God, this is although I thought I was chasing my dream, I actually realized I was still living in society's mold and not Katt's mold.
People think of what is my dream as materialistic things, my dream car, my dream house, my dream bank account, but what a dream is really you should just wake up and say, today is, I'm going to live my dream.
I remember when I was 18 was the first time I looked at my plate of food and I said, this is making me sick. I can't eat this anymore. And that was when I went vegetarian. And then I remember the day I took an ibuprofen and I was like, I can't take this anymore. My body was so smart in telling me that this was not right for my body. Letters to a Young Poet is one of the books that saved my life, and acting school. And Nikki is one of the people that always would remind me, Katt, like, it's not about this. It's not like you, like, I was always trying to like make it as a way of like escaping this like life that I was given. And then I just kept realizing it's about the journey, and I'm exactly where I need to be. The other thing I wanted to say, you had mentioned abundance. I was going to ask you, do you have a affirmation, or do you like set an intention, or try to at least every day? Like,
before quarantine, we didn't know anything about COVID yet. It was like still February. It was like the beginning of February. Me and my friends had a text group, and it was called the Abundance Challenge. And for, I think it was like 20 days or 21 days, you did a different little like challenge or whatever. It wasn't a challenge. Like you wrote in your notebook every day these things that they told you about to bring abundance to your life. And one of the affirmations that was in that says, I am a winner and I will do whatever I need to do to create abundance in my life. And whether you believe it or not at the start of you saying that, it doesn't matter, because the more you say it, then the more you start to believe it and the more it comes to you.
living at my mom's, I was like not taking care of myself at all, working at the bar, like just not feeling hot at all. And I would just like write in this journal, like, I am healed, over and over again, like, I am stable, blah, blah, blah. And this is like a year or two ago. And like now I look at my life and I am that, you know, and it's just crazy looking back in these books and realizing like how powerful that shit really is. As I start to think, what, like, I posted an Instagram cover the other day and deleted it 5 minutes later because I just like shelled up. And then my friend messaged me and was like, hey, really like that cover you just posted, did you delete it? And I was like, yeah, I just like wasn't feeling it. He's like, no, like it was amazing, I loved it, please repost it. And so then I did. And then but the second time that I posted it with my approval, like, you know, like I set out like, oh, this is like a beautiful thing that I'm going to share. And then like I received love on it.
Not posting something because you're like, well, this won't go viral.
Definitely.
Yeah. So it's like something doesn't need to like go viral.
No, not at all. And I felt that way for when I was like doing the couch to couch thing, like living that life, everything that I did had the intention of not only my own, like it was my own artist, but there was always this subconscious thought of like, oh, this is the thing that's going to go for me. I'm going to make it now. Like everything had that intention, and it was a terrible way to live.
I think the biggest thing was I was in college and having multiple mental breakdowns. And then I was like, oh, okay, maybe something's wrong here. Like I shouldn't be feeling this way. But that was at the time that I was like working full time, going to school full time. And I just started having these panic attacks because I was, like you said, not taking care of my body, just not listening to my body. Like even though I knew I shouldn't be staying up this late, or I knew I should drink more water, logically I knew all these things, but I wasn't doing them.
And then that would give you more anxiety, right?
Right. Because I'm like, oh, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I'm not doing it.
I couldn't stop drinking, and then I couldn't stop drinking, and then I would feel like shit about myself and like just have more anxiety. Like, why am I doing this to myself?
Right. Exactly. And I think it was a combination of all of the pressure I put on myself combined with the people I was surrounded with just weren't for me. I thought they were for me at the time and supported me, but as soon as something happened where I needed all of them, they all disappeared. So that was like a big eye opener for me to be like, okay, this is not my circle. Like this is not who supports me and who cares about me. So I need to go back to my roots and figure out how do I like heal myself from all of this. So really the first thing I did was I called my brother because I was like, I don't like this feeling. Like I need to get out of this mindset. I don't like these people. Like I can't leave school because I need to finish. Like what do I do? So really that's when I started doing the affirmations. He literally told me like what affirmations to write. I put them on Post-its all over my dorm room. I had a single room, so I didn't have to like share with anybody. I put them all over my wall with different color Post-its so that it was like engaging to look at. And every time I woke up, I didn't do anything else. I didn't wash up. I didn't brush my teeth. I looked at the wall. I said every affirmation that was on the wall, and then I started my day.
I know my moment that I had to shove myself into a therapist's office because my panic attacks were so unbearable. I couldn't even like sit down and watch TV without
Mhm.
like panicking. It just was
Mhm.
like a 24/7 thing. And someone finally told me like, you should just try it. And
Yeah.
I went, and it was like, bleh.
Mhm.
I literally went twice, and then I was like, oh, I feel so much better. Like,
Yeah, sometimes like, and people like, it doesn't have to be a therapist. It definitely is helpful because they are an expert in how to like help you. But if you just get it out in some way, if you just
then
really,
you realize, because you're off that loop.
Yeah.
It's like this loop in your head that sometimes you can't break unless
get
you
it
like
out
verbalize it.
too, like with therapy, like you end up figuring out your own problem. Like
Yeah.
it just helps to talk it out and like have someone actually listen to you. Because a lot of times you talk to a friend about it.
You don't want to burden them, right?
Yeah, you either don't want to burden them or they're trying to give you advice, but you're not really looking for advice. You just want someone to listen, and it's like
Can work it
that
all
doesn't
out.
often happen. Yeah, it's that's what really the therapist is there for, is to just guide you in your own journey.
Somewhere, because I feel like we're kind of, I'm a person who's like, my wall, if I decide that I want to put my walls down, like it's easy to put them down, but
Mhm.
others really need like more sessions to do that.
Yeah.
I noticed like my first session, I was like, I'm here. Like I know I contacted you, but I really don't know what to tell you. I literally, that was my first session. I was like, I know I'm here and like I'm sitting with you now, but like I have no idea why I'm here. Like I don't know what to say to you. Like I had no idea how therapy worked, like at all.
Yeah.
And so she was like, okay, well tell me just the first thing that came to your mind. Like you told me in your email you were anxious. Like what are you anxious about? And I was like,
Everything. What do you mean?
yeah, so like once you just start talking, things will come out. You don't necessarily have to know what you want to talk about before you go in. I think that's a misconception too. Like people think they have to know exactly everything before they go in there, but that's the point of therapy, is to figure it out while
And
you're
therapy
in
can
there.
be like, I know I had a huge resistance toward it because when I was 12, I was shoved into a grievance counselor and had like a terrible experience. Like my trust was just entirely betrayed. So for the next 11 years, I refused therapy. And
What sucks is if you have a bad experience with this.
right. So I wouldn't want people to, and I know one of my really good friends, she had in her 20s, she had multiple bad experiences, and she just kept, she was like getting thrown around into all these different chairs. And luckily she finally found one that matches with her synergy. And like, you know, it's a huge thing. You're in your most vulnerable, you know, self, and you want to be able to trust this person, because it's a scary thing.
I could say something and then she'll just say one thing differently in the sentence that I said, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a better way to look at it. Like, meanwhile, it's so obvious in what I said to her, but I couldn't see it myself until she pointed it out.
It almost felt like I was tripping out. Like, am I the only real person here?
That's
Oh
so
my
crazy you
God.
say that, because like we talk about that, me, Matt, and Ryan, obviously we're all sibling cousins, and we talk about that all the time, how like we've become so good at pinpointing when someone's not being their true self, and even within our own family, that we don't even like interact with them the same way anymore. Like we used to like take their words seriously, or what they're saying to us,
Right.
and we would take offense to it, but then we're like, wait a minute, they're not even living their own life how they want to live it, so why are we listening to them? Like, so I definitely understand that, but those are the people you know, you can't necessarily cut them out, they're your family, but they're there. But
Right.
no,
It open and be like, you know, here's my kind of perspective on life, or not even just that, just like mundane stuff, but like, but
That's the
trying
word of
to
the
help
year.
them like rip off that mask and be like,
yeah,
who are you really? Like, what did this stuff that we're pretending to care about doesn't matter.
like
You know?
what we try to do, like we usually bring it out in people when people are at like a movers meetup, like they completely drop what their persona
Ego.
is in the world, and they
Ego and social
talk
structure.
about, yeah, what they love. Like Brandon Geddison, Chester from Bachelor, we met him, and I'm sure he definitely wouldn't mind me telling the story. Like, we met him in a professional networking setting. He was a young professional in real estate, and that's what we saw him as. But until he came to a movers meetup, that's when he really showed his true passion, and that he really loves improv, and he wants to act. But we would have never known that about him had we stayed in those traditional networking settings. But we really drew this part out of him. So, like, that's what I love to do too, is like breaking down, like not necessarily writing those people off, but breaking down that wall.
Right. Some people, it's not their fault.
Right.
Like my dad just voted. My dad just voted for the first time. He's 58. And he voted for the first time in his life. He just learned about, with the Black Lives Matter movement ever since George Floyd's murder. Like, my dad started watching like Michelle Obama videos and like figured out like, oh, like it was like, because the way he was raised, like old school Italian, like always watch the news, always follow what the president's saying, always, the man eats Big Macs, like, and that's his MO, and that's what makes him happy. But like, he doesn't know another way. He never had that intuition that said like, oh, there's another way of living. He's got that mask, and it's not their fault that that's the way that they were.
They don't even know they're wearing the mask. They are just so brainwashed by society and conforming to what they think the world wants them to do that they don't even know who they are. Like, and like you said, that's not their fault until somebody gives them that inkling of awareness. If they can't do it for themselves, that until then they're just going to stay in that same path.
Web seminar for only $9,999 a minute.
Then we be talking about how your inner child is really the foundation for all of your joy.
And downward facing dog.
Now Katt will lead us in a meditation so we can.
Oh my God. Wow.
And he's like, this is how you do it now.
I feel like I just word vomited for an hour straight. Now I'm hungry.
I think we all did.
I gotta go.
Where are you going?
Band practice.
Oh, that's nice. Well, thank you for being here with us today, Kenzie.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to see how this comes out.
I feel like we covered like every solid thing I wanted to talk about, although
I don't know a lot, but there's more to cover.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for next
part two.
Check out DK Desserts, Ken's Mendz, right?
Kenzie Mendz, yeah.
Kenzie Mendz, and then Party with Becky and Kenzie.
Correct.
I'm like, let me just butcher all of your businesses right now. Thank you.
It's all good.
And yeah, I'm really happy that we're all on this.
Put them ones up, one like that's all we got. One like that's all we got. One like that's all we got. Like this, one like that's all we got. One like that's all we got. One like that's all we got. So don't waste it.
Oh.
All right, bye guys.
Bye, sisters.